Episode 5 of Sora Yori mo Tooi Basho, or A Place Further Than the Universe, just came out a while ago. Spoiler alert just for those who haven't caught up, but in this episode we had our big, huge step forward within the plot. This is the time when the girls are going to Antarctica. It's the day before, it's the moments before at the end of the episode. And this episode in general was just a collection of what these girls were experiencing right before they left. And this show, I just want to talk about the show a little bit. It's absolutely blowing my mind just how good and how fantastic Madhouse is able to execute a show that's only been on for 5 episodes. They're so confident with everything that they're doing. Every aspect of this show is executed perfectly. If you want to pick things that aren't in this show, okay, there's no romance. Okay, but that's fine. This show doesn't need anything like that. This show, just on its very simple premise of girls going to Antarctica, is, in my opinion, the best of this season, hands down. I have it as a 10 on Mal right now, and it's been at a 10 for like 3 weeks. It's so strong, and everything about the show is top-notch. The character development, the audio, the visuals, and it's engaging, which is definitely the most important part of an anime. But I digress. If we want to talk about this episode specifically, it really focuses mostly on our main character, Mari-chan, and her own personal relationship with her best friend, Megumi. To start things off, I wanted to talk about just the scenes of Mari by herself, not with the other girls or anything, just by herself. And starting things off after we get through the intro of the girls filming themselves in front of the boat, one of the scenes that we get in this show is Mari-chan, and she's packing all of her stuff. And what happens here in this scene is she ends up packing a bit too much. She ends up packing travel guides that she doesn't really need, and like cooking materials and stuff that she doesn't really need, but she's bringing it anyway, or at least she wants to, until her sister comes along and says, "No, you don't need this, what are you doing?" And this scene right here almost speaks to me the idea that Mari isn't really that self-aware of things yet. She isn't really all that responsible with carrying things out on her own, because as you can see, if you tell her to pack her stuff, she's going to end up bringing a whole bunch of stuff she doesn't need. So her sister comes over sort of as a guide, and she's like, "No, you don't need this." So Mari's like, okay, I'll just take this small box that I was assigned after. Later on, she finds an old PlayStation console which actually belonged to Megumi. So she decides to bring it back to Megumi, say, "Okay, this is yours, I had to borrow it, and let's sit down, let's play, because I haven't played this in a long time." And in this scene, we get sort of a flashback talking about how this video game is the only thing that Mari-chan was able to beat Megumi in. And she loved it. She loved playing this game because she couldn't beat Megumi in anything else except for this game. Megumi is starting to feel a little bit of hostility. The camera focuses on her. All the audience watching is like, "Oh no, this is not going well." And eventually she unplugs the game console while Mari-chan is playing. This scene already had me suspicious. I was like, okay, something's gonna happen to Megumi-chan right here. And eventually something did. So if we go a little bit later into the episode, we get ourselves more moments of just Mari-chan and Megumi by themselves. And the earliest one comes right after school. After everyone greets Mari-chan goodbye and everything, Megumi and Mari are outside in the park just talking. And Megumi reveals to Mari-chan, "Hey, you know there are rumors going around about you. There are a whole bunch of rumors. They're saying that you slept with a whole bunch of boys up there in Shinjuku." Which, of course, that's not true, because, you know, our wholesome main character girl cast is never gonna do anything like that, right? So this happens, and at first, Megumi is like, "Oh, yeah, it's just a whole bunch of rumors that I've heard." And then Mari's like, What? And at this point, there's a really, really good shot of Mari-chan getting up and walking around, and Megumi just sitting on the bench, not looking at her friend. And this is a scene where they're talking about the rumors. Megumi's talking about the rumors, and Mari's like confused and everything. So eventually Megumi comes out, and she's trying to tell her, "Yeah, no, people think this about you. Don't you want to, like, fix this before you leave?" And then all of a sudden, Shirase-chan and Hinata-chan come out, and they confront the girls who are already talking. Eventually, Megumi is able to spill the beans to them too, and as expected of some of our characters, Shirase-chan is furious. She wants to fix everything. She wants to shove some logic into whoever's saying that, and Hinata-chan is over there on the side like, you can't change this. People aren't gonna back off about this. You can't prove that they're wrong. And Hinata, honestly, she's like the smartest character on this show. I absolutely adore her. I adore all the girls on this one. They're all really good. And eventually we go a little bit further, and we head over to the walk home. And this is kind of where everything starts to fall into place. Megumi and Mari are walking home, and Mari-chan is talking about how she's really happy that she's finally able to do this. Because her whole life, she's seen Megumi as a guardian-type figure. She's always looked to her for advice and had her guide her throughout life, and this Antarctica thing, this is the first moment where she's really stepped out of her norm and said, I'm gonna do this myself. This is the first time that she didn't really ask Megumi for any help. This is the first time that she's stepping outside of her boring life in her own city and going somewhere far away. And she's happy about this. She's happy that she's able to move on from a life sheltered by Megumi, away into her own independence with these other girls over to Antarctica, and everyone's happy. Except for, of course, Megumi, who eventually in the next scene, the next morning, shows up at Mari's house talking about how she is the one who is ready to say goodbye. Because Megumi kind of saw Mari-chan as somebody to guide the entire way through. And eventually at this moment outside of their house, we realize that this Antarctica thing is really hurting Megumi the most. Because for the first time in her life, the girl who would always come to her for advice isn't coming to her anymore. And for the first time, the girl who would always cater and turn to her is finally turning away and going to basically the bottom of the earth. And for the first time, this is when Megumi realizes that she relied on Mari-chan's presence just as much as Mari relied on her. Because now that Mari is leaving, she's all happy to be alone and everything. Megumi is miserable. And that's why she reveals that she was the one who spread the rumors, who told Mari's mom about how they're going to Antarctica, and how she's been a really bad friend. Of course, this doesn't make Megumi a bad person. I mean, it's a bad thing that she did, but the way this show presents it, and the way this show gets you on Mari-chan's side, it doesn't put you in a position to just say, oh, I hate Megumi now, she's a bad character. Because you can't say that she's a bad character. Because everything that she's feeling, and everything that she expressed while crying in front of Mari's house, while just saying, pretending to mother you, acting so smart around you, if I didn't have that, I didn't have anything. And because I wasn't anything, I didn't want you to have anything. That's the thing that really strikes out to me, because this isn't behavior that comes out of pure bad qualities. Sure, of course it's a bad thing, but you can't say that it comes from nowhere. You can't say that Megumi doesn't have a reason. She's not a bad character for the sake of being a bad character. She's making a bad choice now because of all the things that she's felt over the past years and having all those taken away from her. Suddenly, like that, just one decision, boom, I'm going to Antarctica, boom, it's done. That must be hard. And I know it's a bad decision. I know that, but I see where she's coming from. I understand that. Watching this episode and listening to that speech, at this moment I was like, boom, I knew it, absolutely. I knew she was the one who spread the rumors. Yes, she feels jealous, and she doesn't want Mari-chan to experience this good thing in her life. But the reasons behind that, because Megumi nurtured off of Mari-chan's existence so hard that now that Mari-chan's leaving, Megumi feels empty. That was unexpected. And it makes sense. I think that Madhouse did such a good job portraying this scene, and taking all the bad things that Megumi has done to Mari over the past few weeks, and giving the light behind them. because this scene, I'm sure that many people cried at this scene. I almost did, I'm gonna be honest. But it was because of how strong these emotions that Megumi was portraying felt. You could totally sense why she was doing everything, and why she made these bad choices. And ultimately, that's what makes this show so great. The ability to build characters, and strong character development and choices. It just presented itself in such a strong way to the viewers that I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. That was just me talking about whatever. Hope to see you guys in the next one, and bye.